Hi, everyone. My name is Anika Verma, and I am the Chief Communications Officer at the Steamboat. For those of you who don't know, we interview various students who have showcased an interest in STEM or leadership through exceptional means. I am pleased to announce our next student, Jordan Smith. Before we get started, I would like to introduce Jordan. She is the founder of an amazing organization called Ocean Busters, and they do various tasks. So I will hand it over to Jordan to tell us a little bit about Ocean Busters.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I'm Jordan Smith. I'm the founder and president of Ocean Busters. And at Ocean Busters, we help to combat pressing environmental issues, mostly ocean pollution and ocean education and literacy.
All right, can you tell us about how you've combated these issues and
Yes,
what steps you take?
yeah, of course. So the steps we take, we gathered a team, and we have multiple different teams that kind of help with helping with ocean education, ocean literacy, creating posts because I feel like that's very important to like create posts for awareness. We've helped sponsor a beach cleanup with one of our members, um, and we just try to post a lot, and we have a blog also and a podcast too.
So can you tell us where we can find this information and the types of information you add on your posts and your blogs?
Yes. So all the information we get from like trusted sites, trusted sources, because we don't want to spread false information about ocean pollution and like environmental issues, because that can be very detrimental. So we like to like make sure that when we're researching, we make sure it's credible. And all of things we post are on like social media because that's a big thing where people get a lot of news from. So social media and even just like on Google and like just trusted sources like that.
All right. And I completely forgot this, but could you tell us a little bit about yourself, like where you're from, like where you live, what state and country, kind of your age, your grade, and that kind of thing?
Of course, yeah. So I'm currently a senior. I'm getting ready to graduate. I was born in Texas, but I reside in Florida right now. My parents are military, so like we moved around a lot. I feel like residing in Florida, it kind of made me have an even bigger passion for the ocean because I always liked it, but living so close to it kind of just like really helped. And yeah, I'm 17. Yeah.
I think I can totally agree with that. I also used to live in Texas. Now I live in Maryland, and that's also by the ocean. And this is a big issue for us because we have the entire East Coast and all the waters and the bays. So I think I
Yeah,
can definitely
definitely.
relate to this. So can you tell us a little bit about like what sparked your interest into this ocean industry or field, kind of in talking about the pollution? I know you mentioned that you live by a beach and all that kind of thing, so that definitely plays an important role in how you see it affect society.
Yes, definitely. So when we had a hurricane like a year ago, we had Hurricane Ian. And when we had Hurricane Ian, we were out of school for like a month. And I was at the beach every single day just cleaning up. And it kind of sparked my passion to like start up my own like nonprofit. Because just seeing how much trash and debris and stuff, it kind of really made me like very passionate about ocean pollution. I also watched this documentary. I can't remember the name, but like I watched it and it was about like how overfishing is like the biggest contributing to pollution for ocean pollution and how there's like how much tons of pollution there is in the oceans. And so this kind of made me like, oh wait, it made me passionate. It kind of made me think more about it and kind of sparked my interest for ocean pollution.
Yeah. All right. Kind of looking into the future. I know you're graduating and you will be senior. So, like, what major are you interested in? Are you going to go to college? Like, what do you plan on doing in the future?
Currently I'm interested in majoring in biology. I want to be like I'm gonna do biology with a pre med track. So like I want to go into the med field and like look at biology through there. Um, yeah.
All right. I guess it can be a very exciting time as the
Yes,
college
definitely.
season is coming around. All right. So, what other extracurriculars or hobbies do you have that align with your ocean-based interest or STEM interests that you have?
Yes. Currently I'm in Science National Society, which we do a lot of like activities with like younger kids, like middle school students. Also in environmental clubs. I'm in an environmental club and we kind of work with like building a garden right now at our school, which is really cool. and helping to compost some of the food waste, which is also really cool. Um, that's the only thing I can stimulate. Yeah.
All right, so can you tell us a little bit about more in depth of what you've done in these other extracurricular clubs that you talk about, like more events or more activities that your environmental club and things have may have done?
Of course, yeah. So for the Science National Honor Society, we went over to the middle school that was next to us, and we kind of got to talk to the students, and like we did a fun project where like we did like the volcano project with the students, and like we got to like help them and kind of guide them to it, and like kind of spark their passion maybe because they might be like, oh, that was really cool. I want to learn more or do more in this simulated thing, or like want to be in Science National Honor Society. Um, we also for environmental club right now we're building our garden, and this is the first garden we have. Like this is the first year that we're doing it, and it's really nice because like there's a lot of students that come to like help out, and a lot of students that like, oh, I want to build a garden at home. So I feel like those are two projects that like really spark people to do environmental. Yeah,
I personally love to garden. I have a lot of plants at my house, and it's kind of a favorite thing. As spring
me
comes, that's
too.
what I
I
really
love
love
it.
to do as well.
Yeah,
We also have a garden at our school that's run, and it's amazing when it's like in full blossom and all of that. And I think it's amazing
definitely.
that you're part of that. So, can you tell us about any like personal achievements that you accomplished over your lifetime in STEM, in oceans or environments, like that kind of thing?
Yes, I think the biggest achievement for me so far has just been starting Ocean Busters. I honestly never really felt like I could be a leader and like be able to run an organization by myself. But like once I started, it was like really, I don't know, it was really cool to like continue going and finding new students and networking with new students and working on bigger, better projects every single time. Because I feel like when I first started, it like blossomed really quickly, and I was like, oh, I might give up, and like I was scared, but like I feel like that was my biggest achievement, is just sticking with it, still sticking with it, and like still working on it, even though I'm a busy senior, and so I feel like that was a big achievement for me so far, and I'm excited.
Yeah, always these kind of accomplishments are always rewarding and give us a sense of purpose. So I know you mentioned how it can be busy and hard as like being a senior and managing all of this. So like what tips do you have on like management, how to like do all these different tasks?
Yes, definitely. I feel like the biggest thing that helps me is just writing, making sure you stay organized. So like writing everything on calendars, like if you use digital or like by paper, just making sure that you have everything you need to do, and then just blocking out time to get it done. Because like I feel like sometimes for projects, I'm like, oh, I don't really want to do that today. Just like putting 20 minutes on timer and just completing that task, or just it just gives you time to like actually do it and get these things achieved. But I think those are the biggest things, just staying organized and like just putting time to whatever it is.
All right. So moving on from that, like who are your inspirations and why? So this could be either like personal life inspirations or who inspired you into like the environmental field and that kind of thing.
Yes. My biggest inspiration is I used to volunteer for Soup Kitchen, or I used to volunteer not Soup Kitchen, but like Salvation Army. And there's this lady I met who like she really cared about the environment. You could tell. And so she, like every Saturday she would like spend her time doing beach cleanups or spend her time doing composting and stuff. And just meeting her and talking to her, it was really inspirational because like she just put so much time into it, even though like sometimes it's like feels like it's worthless. Like sometimes it feels like, it doesn't really matter. But like the amount of time she put to it, and like she was like, oh, I'm doing this because I love the environment. And like it was very inspirational. And yeah.
All right. So if anybody's out there looking to like start their own organization or non-for-profit on like something like you did, is the process? How should they get started? What might they expect?
Yes. Okay. I feel like the first step is to know exactly what you want to do. Like whatever you're trying to advocate for, figure out exactly your mission goal, your statement. Because like when you're networking and you're trying to find other people who have the like same passion or the same beliefs that you would, you kind of want to find like people who know exactly what you want. So I would suggest first just like finding exactly what you're looking for and narrowing down. So like if you want to do like ocean pollution, like kind of narrow it down even more to like maybe just your community or whatever. Networking is also a big important thing to get more students to help and like to get more people involved as well. Um, I also should just like I feel like networking is very important, but also just like just making sure that you know your mission statement and your mission goal to find students. And I feel like when you expect at first it's probably gonna be slow. I just stick with it. Like it's gonna be really hard. Just stick with it. Continue working on it every day. It's gonna be very hard, and it's gonna be very like difficult to continue going sometimes. But I feel like one of the biggest things is like as a busy student, as an academic student, you get kind of like carried away with other stuff, and like you might forget about your organization. Just like take 10 minutes a day to with it.
Yeah, so
That's
you're
exactly.
always there, always.
You're always improving, growing.
So I know you mentioned like having difficulties getting involvement and stuff. So can you tell us a little bit about how you gained interest into this thing that you started and what process it was? Like, did you use social media? Did you just word of mouth? How did you get people involved?
I got people involved through different organizations and I really just networked and like put like different I was in a different environmental organizations online, so like virtually. And so I just sent my like what I wanted to do to like other people in that community. So like online, I would be like, "Hey guys, I'm starting a nonprofit. Does anyone want to join?" And like kind of just like telling them about like exactly what I want to do, exactly how I like my mission statement basically, and kind of finding people through there because like environmental organizations online are the perfect place to like if you wanted to do that. Um, and I also networked on like word of mouth too, like just telling people at my school like, hey, I'm starting this organization. Would you be interested? Most people from school did not were not interested, but like it was still good to talk to people because like they also gave good ideas and like they had good
Yeah.
ways to like
At least, maybe if they get interested in it later,
exactly
they'll
yeah.
they'll know where to come, and you never know them they might have a friend that's interested in that same field, and they can obviously be
Exactly.
like, oh, my friend's doing this. And yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
definitely important. I started my own organization as well, and that's kind of what I did. Just send people cold texts and like, hey, I'm starting this. And from there we went on. So what other like major setbacks have you faced through the process of starting up your own organization?
Yes. I think the biggest setback is just like since it's virtual, like our organization is virtual, we work through like we're international, so like it's through the whole world. So like it's very hard to like work through computers sometimes because like you're not right in front of someone. So it's kind of that's kind of like the biggest setback is just making sure everyone stays active and like stays committed because like it can get like very stressful and like tiresome and you might not want to do it every day, so like just trying to keep people passionate and engaged for the organization is kind of hard sometimes.
So how have you like dealt with this like engagement, making sure people show up? Like what have you done to like keep that going kind of thing?
I think the biggest thing is just like being patient with people because like people have lives. Their organization is not their whole entire lives, so like just also giving good feedback too because like I feel like when you give good feedback it makes some people passionate about what they're doing and what they're saying and like what the mission statement is. It makes them passionate for it. So I feel like just be like, hey, this is what we're doing, like, and just continue and like just giving good feedback. Also enticing them with leadership roles because I feel like with leadership roles they're like, oh, I want to do this, like I want to be in charge and like yeah.
Yeah, I think definitely leadership roles like get people interested because they want to be a part now and they want to take action and things along those lines. So what are other issues outside of environmental, like specifically ocean pollution that you care about?
Currently I really care about climate change. Currently I'm enrolled in AP research. That's like one of the things that like I'm studying is like climate change and like how students perceive it and like how did that affect their action. So like that's something I'm really passionate about. We also did a podcast episode for ocean visitors on climate change, and we got to talk to like a student who like advocates for climate change and like holds talks in her library about it. So I feel like that was too like climate change is really um sincere thing that I'm like really passionate about. I would also say like just like greenhouse emissions, deforestation, like those things I want to get more into. Like we wrote a couple blogs about that, but like I kind of want to continue talking more about that, not just ocean pollution.
So more of like the environmental changes and like how they're affecting our community and society and the way we live.
Yes,
So, do you guys, I know you mentioned you do like ocean cleanups, like you've done that before. Like, is there any other activities that you guys have planned and what you might want to do in the future? Do you have other like future goals for your organization?
yes. Currently, we want to create like a storybook to like give to students all around the world and like have it translated so like other students everywhere can read it. Same with our blogs. We kind of want to make it like universal so like everyone can read it in multiple different languages. So it's not like just English or I also want to work on creating more beach cleanups too, because like I feel like it's very important to like just have a cleaner ocean. Um, we also want to work on slip my brain. I'll get back to that. Yeah, I totally forgot.
It's okay. It's completely fine. That happens to all of us all the time. So I know that you have all these like goals and but are you going to continue with this organization as you move into college? And if not, how do you plan on like transferring this and like leadership and who's going to take management?
I definitely want to work on this until college. I kind of like I think of Ocean Busters more of like a I want to make bigger and better and like every year. So like I kind of want to work on it until like I grow up. Like I kind of want to like when I get into adult years because I want to go to med school. So like that'll be time in professional school, and I feel like Ocean Busters is like I want it to be like a big environmental organization, nonprofit, because I want to like I don't know, yeah,
Yeah, obviously, because I feel like that's a problem many seniors face when they come to like this is like, oh, whether I continue with something I started or not. If I don't continue with it, like who's gonna take in charge? How will
yes,
it continue? Because you feel like it's almost like it's your child and
baby, yes,
it's
yes.
your child and it's your baby and you don't know how it's going to be. So I know you talked about you taking this AP research class, and what are other classes that you're taking that align with your interests?
Last year I took AP Bio, AP Biology. I feel like that really aligns my like it was like really fun, and it made me realize like I really have a passion for biology, but also like just the environment because we talked a lot about environment too. I think another class would be AP Environmental Science or AP Environmental Science. Yeah,
Yeah.
I took that last year, and also I feel like that also really aligned because we got to work with like a lot of different. I got to learn a lot of things that I just didn't never know, and I feel like that class was very like insightful, especially during the time when I was making my organization in the mission statement. So I feel like that was also really cool.
So, did you start this organization last year?
Yes.
So it's not that old yet. So,
No, it's not.
how many members and are do you have in your organization?
See, that's a funny story. So, during the summer, during the summer makes sense. People have a lot more time. Students have a lot more time. So during the summer, we had almost 200 members. Now we have like 100 because the school's starting. Yeah, we have 100 members. There are teams. Yeah.
That's still a very huge number because 100, 200 members is a lot of commitment, a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
Do you have any other co-founder or someone else that you work with to manage this load? Because a 200 people team is huge.
Yes. We have an executive board. I feel like executive board is literally amazing. It's Trinivas and Owen and Mandy. These three people have helped me so much, and they're kind of like the backbone to Ocean Busters. And yeah,
So, and out of like curiosity and for anybody listening, how did you choose these people? How did you know that they would stay commitment? Because many people they host even interviews and things like that and be like, okay, submit your resume and they select people, but eventually these people don't actually put in the effort and the time to support the organization.
I think when you're selecting members, I feel like giving them a grace period, like just working with them, seeing how they work, and how you guys work together is also just giving before you give them the leadership role immediately. Just like see how you guys work together, because these three members, when I were doing it was sorry, when I was doing the interviews, like they were like, oh, like they kept emailing me back, and like they seemed very like they really wanted to get into it. Like while some members they just go to the interviews and like hi, and then like they don't you never really hear back from them again. So I feel like these members they just showed like I really want to be in this leadership
Yeah.
position. I really care. I want to do this.
So basically, someone just like, showing up to an interview and just reading off their resume, basically, then that's when you know that
Yes.
they're not passionate and they're not going to stay committed. So,
Yeah.
have you ever had any difficulty with team members not finishing tasks on time? I mean, I assume with a 200 people a team, that's something you probably face.
Yes. People have a lot of different people have lives. So like it makes sense like for deadlines though, like if it's a person like a lot I have a lot of people who like would consistently not hit deadlines and just like weren't active ever, but like they got really defensive. And I feel like after a certain time, you kind of have to just like let them
Yeah.
go. Sadly.
Yeah, that obviously happens. Everybody, I
Mhm.
I think it's amazing that we all do like recognizing the fact that everybody does have lives and they all have commitments. And it's sometimes it's hard to prioritize what we have to do and what we don't have to do. And I think that's actually quite important because you never know what comes up in people's lives and it can be a challenge to navigate that kind of thing. So
Yes, definitely.
So I know you mentioned like the beginning you were struggling to get members, but how did you get like I know you mentioned that summer people have more time, but how were you able to get the spike? How were you able to get an interest of 200 people? And I know you mentioned that you guys are like global, so you have people all over the place, but most of your people are residing within America, within Florida, or are they mostly out of country? What kind of like is your area zone?
Okay. So I feel like most of the people that we were getting during the summer were like in from like Asia, which was really, really cool. Like having those different perspectives and stuff. I feel like that also makes it a little difficult to work with some people because like we're all from different places, we all have different backgrounds, and like it's difficult because like we all have different mindsets and stuff being around the world. But I also feel like that's really cool because it helps with like our team working skills, working with people from all around the world with different norms and stuff. So I think that's really cool. When we had 200 members, it was very difficult to like host meetings and stuff because like it is like make sure everyone was there, and it was really difficult. But I feel like it was really cool having just like the different people like from everywhere, and yeah.
So were you able to just get like these 200 people to join your team just through like Instagram, or is there any other like methods that you took to just gain more interest?
So definitely, I went through Instagram. Instagram is like the best place to find people because you can like, and then also through those environmental organizations, like on like the different platforms and sites, you
Okay.
can definitely like just post a link and people will just, oh, I'm interested in this. And then also just like people's friends, like people would get their friends to join as well at a time.
All right. So I'm gonna kind of sidetrack from here. So a little bit more about like what you think. So there's many STEM innovations that are occurring, and it's an ever-growing like world with more and more innovations like AI and those like things like that. So how do you think this like two parts? How do you think AI might be able to help with ocean pollution? And are there any other STEM innovations that you think might help in this environmental issues?
Oh, this is such a good question. So I feel like AI in the future is really helpful because like we can help create new plans and like to battle ocean pollution and like create new innovative techniques that like no one ever would think of, which I feel like is really cool. We can like plan how we can clean up the ocean and like how or like, just stuff like that. I feel like AI can be very helpful for.
And the other part was, are there any other STEM innovations that you think might be useful in the environmental field?
Yes, definitely. I feel like for STEM innovations, I feel like there's always innovations to help with the environment and stuff. Um, this kind of reminds me of like when I was in 8th grade. I made like this machine to like help with ocean pollution and like take out trash and like kind of disintegrate it and like make that into gas to like power the machine to continue doing that, which I feel like would be a really cool invention. That's kind of sidetracked, but like I think yes, yeah.
All right. Okay. So I know you mentioned a lot about like you guys posting articles. So could you tell us a little bit about a few articles that maybe you've recently posted and what like where you get I know you mentioned that you guys research off the internet and make sure you have reliable sources, but like who comes up with the ideas for topics and how do you manage that?
I feel like during the summer we would make a theme for the like the month, and like our topics would be based off of that theme. So like one of our themes were like coral reefs. So like our theme, our blog writers, they would write based off of coral reefs. So like they would write about like they would have really cool ideas because like coral reefs, and then they would broaden it even or narrow it even more to like this specific issue or to this specific issue, which I think is really cool. And then eventually we just like free range, like you can write whatever.
Yeah, I think that's pretty interesting. Like if you give someone a topic and you have them like a broad topic and then you can tell them and to go into the narrow fields and like make their own choices. I think that's a great way. So do you still have the like you're managing the entire organization with like hundreds of people. So do you still have time to write these posts and stuff like that? And or do you just mainly focus on the organizational aspect of Ocean Investors?
Good question. Okay, so like as of right now, I kind of just manage the organization with the executive board. I used to kind of want to like I used to kind of write, and like during the summer when you have more free time. But like now as a senior, I don't really write as much. I like literally just write. I just manage the organization, making sure that the writers and like the editors are doing, and like we have a chief of edit our chief editor that like kind of reviews and makes sure that everything's credible. So yeah.
All right. So I know you talked about how you have like different executive boards and you have this chief editors and things like that, people who check everything is going through correctly. So could you tell us a little bit about like how your organization system works, how someone joins, how they get into the team, and like basically the steps, like how do they write an article, how does it get passed on, who publishes it? So someone like, out there looking to start their own organization has an idea on how to create like a proper functional organization.
Of course, yes. So first we have the executive board. This is like the higher ups. This is like we have the secretary, the treasurer, and the um executive director. Sorry, executive director. That's like the executive board. This is like above the board, and then we have like the regular board, which is like in charge of like financial affairs. We have the PR manager, or the director of PR. Or, no, PR, right? Sorry, the PR manager, and then we have like creative director, which is like in charge of the chief of editor, and in charge of like blogs and the designer team. And so we have kind of have the executive board and the board's separate because the executive board is kind of like gonna look over the board and making sure that everything's running smoothly, while the executive board kind of mostly focuses on like making sure everything runs smoothly, but also making sure like the organization itself is staying smooth, like is staying right.
Yeah.
So to specifically to write or to be a blog editor or blog writer, um, we are to. Oh wait, let me go to join the team. Sorry, to join the team. We kind of have like we have our form, our Google form that you join. Are you like put all your information
Yeah.
in, and then we have an interview, which a board member or executive board member will talk to you, kind of get a feel for what you're interested in, and like what team would you want to join, and like your passions, and then we would go from there. I feel like having an interview instead of just like going off the Google form is the best thing because like, you kind of like talk to the person first before like you invite them to your organization. Yeah,
All right, yeah, that's really
just
helpful.
yeah.
No, I mean, I think this is very, very important because it's important to know how like the process is, how things are set up and how you manage it because it can be very difficult to manage an organization with so many people from different time zones across the world. What do you
Yes.
usually do if like let's say someone leaves the position, maybe like a higher up position like on your board, if someone leaves the position, how do you like replace them? Do you post more interviews and kind of select it based off that?
This recently just happened. When someone recently left the board, we picked someone from like our organization to take their position, mostly because like we already know them and like we know their work ethic and like putting them in a leadership position just made sense. Um, it's a good idea to like find someone from outside, but like I feel like it's better to like because you already have a feel for this person and putting them in a leadership position is because they have a good work ethic, they're active, they communicate well with others, that's they're a leader. So I think that's
Yeah, I think that's
yeah.
obviously their leader and you see them do it and they showcase it. So it's kind of like how it is in the workforce. If you see someone working, obviously they get promoted to a higher position.
To
Are-
replace, yeah.
Yeah. So are there any other like STEM or ocean environmental things that you're passionate about? Anything that you would like to tell us more about in the interview today?
I'm okay. I'm gonna go back to my AP research survey just because I'm like really passionate about it. So for my research, I'm doing a study. I'm doing interviews and a survey to like kind of conduct my research, and I feel like it's really interesting seeing like because I'm doing it over climate change perceptions and like how people are taking action, and it's really interesting to see how like students are they believe that climate change is important and they believe that it's a big issue, and it's just seeing how like it's like I also have a question is like do you believe that climate change should be taught in schools and like does schools teach this, and I feel like this kind of relates to like environmental issues in general, like we don't really learn more much about environmental issues or like STEM, like things like that we don't really learn about in school, which I feel like is important for like the curriculum, and I feel like if students learn more about environmental, get more what's the word, get
Like,
involved, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Get involved into these organizations, I feel like this would just be like best for like the environment because like you have more innovators for
Yeah, and
the
I think it's always when more if you know about something, you're more likely to react and respond than without
exactly.
knowing anything, you're kind of unaware of what's actually happening in your society. So I have a kind of like question that follow-ups with this. How did you come up with this idea for a research project? Because I've been also looking personally to do like a research project and I really like STEM and that's like the field I'm interested in, but I'm not sure how to like think of research project and things like that.
Yes, it was actually a blog that I read and it was about climate change, and it was kind of really interesting because like I was like, oh, it was about, but it was like I had like a study with middle school students, and like they were asked about climate change, and I was like, oh, that'd be interesting if I did high school students since I'm also a high school student, and also it didn't really talk much about like action, like how they decided to take action or if they felt responsibility to take action. So I felt really like maybe I could do that. So I feel like to find a research or a study to do or whatever, I feel like find something that's like you're really passionate about because you're gonna want to do it, and you're gonna really want to just find something like that's like local that affects you because it's gonna be way easier to like find data for and to like really get the results. Or yeah, anyways.
All right, thank you so much. I want to, it's amazing insight that you've provided here today. So I want to thank Jordan Smith for joining us this week on our student series interview project. If you're interested in getting interviewed by our team, be sure to check out the form shared in the description. We're always looking for interested students, and we interview anyone between the ages of 14 and 22, but we'll always make exceptions for grad students who are doing amazing work. We hope to see you back here again on Monday for our next installment. Thank you.